guys, it's Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and usually I'm more talking about comics, but today I want to talk about the MCU, specifically a certain character's timeline in the MCU. Before I get started, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything else I have to offer, because I have a lot of content that I think your Marvel-loving hearts will actually like. I hope. But today, who is the man of the hour? It is actually Loki. So let's talk all about Loki's wild timeline in the MCU. I guess wild would be an understatement. So where did Loki start in the MCU? Starting in the first Thor movie in 2011, that's where we get to meet Tom Hiddleston's Loki for the very first time. In the movie, we learn that Loki was born around 965 AD to the frost giant Loki in Jotunheim. Not long after, Odin and the Asgardian army went to war with the frost giants. When the battle was over, Odin found baby Loki abandoned and decided to take him in, raising him as his own son. He and his wife Frigga brought Loki up in Asgard alongside their real son Thor. They hoped Loki might one day help bring peace between their people and the frost giants. But, Odin never told Loki the truth about where he came from or that he was actually a frost giant. The secret ended up causing some serious drama between Loki and his family for over 2,000 years later after it all happened. Loki became known for being a bit of a troublemaker when he was younger. One of his pranks actually ended up revealing the truth about where he really came from. In Thor 2011, he set a bunch of things in motion that got Thor kicked out of Asgard. But while all that was going down, Loki found out he was actually the son of Loki, the frost giant king. That discovery led to a very heated argument with Odin, which ended with Odin falling into one of his deep recovery sleeps earlier than expected. I tell you what, I did not like Odin in the MCU. I think they could have done better. I mean, I don't think I could have done better, but I think they could have done better. Acting out in rage and betrayal, Loki attempted to destroy Jotunheim to impress his father. That included tricking Loki into trying to murder Odin while he slept, only for Loki to kill him before the deed was done. That became an excuse for wiping out the entire frost giant race. However, he was defeated by his returning brother, who managed to save Jotunheim in utter destruction. In the ensuing chaos, Loki slips into the void surrounding the Bifrost, appearing to die before Thor's very eyes. One of the many times Loki pretended to be dead. Loki survived, however, though Asgard was unaware of it at the time and would soon return to make more mischief, because that's what he did. Loki kept a low profile for a while, secretly planning his revenge. Eventually, he crossed paths with Thanos, who saw potential in him. Thanos gave Loki the Mind Stone, which had a sneaky influence on him, making him even more ruthless, and sent him to Earth with a deal. Bring back the Tesseract, which held the Space Stone, and in return, Loki would get his own kingdom. Armed with the Mind Stone and leading an alien army called the Chitauri, Loki launched a full-scale attack on Earth. He even manipulated Dr. Eric Selvig into opening a portal over New York using the Tesseract. We all remember this wildness. Loki, what can you do? This team up between Loki and Thanos turned them into the two of the biggest villains in the MCU, and it pushed Earth's heroes to unite for the first time as the Avengers. Loki's defeat in the Battle of New York marked a major turning point. He was captured, and Thanos ended up empty-handed, without either the Mind Stone or the Space Stone. But it also kickstarted the whole Infinity Stone storyline, which would shape everything going forward. Until you get to the Loki series. If you know, we will talk about it. After getting defeated on Earth, Loki was taken back to Asgard to face the music in front of Odin. In Thor: The Dark World, he spent his time locked up in a cell with the palace, and with only his mother Frigga coming to visit him. When the Dark Elves attacked Asgard, Loki, being Loki, gave them a not-so-helpful tip on where to find Odin, which tragically led to Frigga's death. Which, interestingly enough, there is a deleted scene that talks about Frigga's death. Well, I mean, it's before she dies, and Odin like jumps in when the elves are about to kill her, and they said, "Give us what we want, or we kill her." And he's like, "No, then kill her." And it's like, Odin, that's your girl. Whatever. Later, Thor had no choice but to break Loki out of prison to help stop Malekith, who was trying to use the Reality Stone during the Convergence. Still grieving over their mother, Loki teamed up with Thor to take down Malekith. But true to form, he faked his own death in the chaos and slipped away unnoticed and secretly made his way back to Asgard. Thor believed his brother had finally died a hero, not knowing Loki was alive and up to his old tricks again. Which is on you, you should have known. After Thor beat Malekith, Loki pulled one of the biggest tricks yet. He secretly took over Asgard. Using his illusion magic, he kicked Odin off the throne and disguised himself as the Allfather. Everyone, including Thor, bought the act, and Loki ruled Asgard for the next 4 years without anyone realizing it. While he played king, Loki let the 9 realms fall into chaos since Asgard wasn't stepping up to protect them. Instead, he spent his time soaking up luxury and attention. He even had a cringy play made in his honor, celebrating his so-called noble death. Eventually, Thor caught on and came back to expose Loki's con. But by then, things had already spiraled out of control. Odin was dying, and their long-lost sister Hela was about to make her return. Ragnarok, the prophesied destruction of Asgard, was on the horizon. Loki and Thor ended up teaming up to take down Hela. They couldn't save Asgard, but they did manage to evacuate a bunch of their people, giving their civilization a chance to start over. Loki actually stepped up and played a major role in the rescue, showing real signs of growth. But their moment of peace did not last long. After Ragnarok, Thor, Loki, and the surviving Asgardians were headed to Earth in a refugee ship, hoping to start fresh and rebuild their home. But at the start of Avengers Infinity War, Thanos showed up hunting for the Space Stone, which Loki still had. Thanos wiped out half the ship's passengers, including Heimdall, and before turning his attention to Loki. By then, Loki had finally started to change for the better, and he made a last-ditch effort to take Thanos out. Unfortunately, it did not work. Thanos caught him mid-move and killed him by choking him to death, just as Loki was trying to do the right thing. Loki's death hit Thor like a ton of bricks. He survived the attack, but the loss of his brother haunted him. He was eventually picked up by the Guardians of the Galaxy and set the stage for the rest of the fight against Thanos. Even though the original Loki died in Avengers Infinity War, a new version of him popped up thanks to the Avengers time travel mission 5 years later. During the time heist in Endgame, the team went back to 2012 to grab the Tesseract during the Battle of New York. But things did not go as planned. When time travel is involved? Loki got his hands on the Tesseract and peaced out, creating a whole new timeline. That little detour landed him on the radar of the Time Variance Authority, the TVA, which we first see in episode 1 of the Loki series. The TVA managed to shut down the branch timeline he created, but instead of erasing Loki, they brought him in for judgment. While there, he caught the attention of Agent Mobius, who recruited him to help track down another version of Loki, one causing serious trouble across the timeline. After traveling to the TVA, which exists outside of time and space, Loki eventually becomes acquainted with a female version of himself, the variant Sylvie, who is behind the recent attacks of the organization. The two join forces upon realizing that a sinister work is being done at the TVA. They are sent to the Void, where they discover a mysterious fortress inhabited by He Who Remains. Upon finding He Who Remains, Loki and Sylvie learn that he is a variant of King the Conqueror and has been secretly scripting the events of the sacred timeline. The Kang variant offers them a choice to either kill him or accept his offer to rewrite the timeline as they see fit. Sylvie takes matters into her own hands, killing He Who Remains and sending Loki back in time, where Mobius and the other TVA agents seem to have no memory of their history together. There, audiences are left to wonder what will happen to Loki and if he will ever be able to defeat the evil Kang the Conqueror variants running loose throughout the multiverse. We find out. Loki eventually found out he'd be thrown back in time to an earlier era in the TVA's history. Thanks to his unstable new power to slip through time, he reconnected with his old TVA crew. Together, they scrambled to stop the Time Loom, a massive device controlling the timelines, from blowing up and taking the entire universe down with it. As it turns out, the Time Loom was designed to fail as a backup plan by He Who Remains, who is one of the many Kang variants. Tired of being stuck in a loop and playing by Kang's twisted rules, Loki spent what felt like centuries trying different ways to fix things. Eventually, he realized there's only one real solution. Loki used his time-slipping ability to dive straight into the chaos of the collapsing loom. In doing so, he brought the multiverse back to life, literally rewriting fate. This act transformed him into the god of stories and a powerful figure who now watches over the multiverse, free from He Who Remains control. The choice was selfless, heavy, and exactly what Loki needed to fully evolve, from the trickster to a true hero and ruler. His journey came full circle, and yes, he's confirmed to return in Avengers Doomsday, with Tom Hiddleston openly sharing how excited he is to step back into the role. So that is Loki in the MCU. I think he is a fan favorite for sure. You can't not love him. And Tom Hiddleston just knocks it out of the park every time he portrays Loki. So, with that being said, please let me know in the comments what you want to see from Loki in Avengers Doomsday. Probably Avengers Secret Wars too, I'd imagine. So, with that being said, have a marvelous day.